What's good, everybody? You see a Jaguar back with GenJag.com, and the Jaguars are sitting in a fairly unfamiliar position right now as we sit 7-3, and we are currently on top of the AFC South all by ourselves. And a lot of people throughout the year wonder if we can be a playoff team. And it's very well looking like we're going to be a playoff team bearing any kind of catastrophic finish, as it seems like the AFC is a very weak conference right now, and you're probably going to have at least one mediocre team getting into the playoffs with a wild card spot. Currently, the Ravens sit in that 6th wild card spot with a record of 5-5, and as the Jaguars currently sit at 7-3, we are well beyond that. And if we don't make the playoffs as a AFC South champion, we could very well go to the playoffs as a wild card team. Now, this really begs the question, once we get into the playoffs, do the Jaguars have any shot at making the Super Bowl and potentially winning the Super Bowl? So in this video, we will discuss. When you look at the Jaguars' formula for getting to 7-3, it's a combination of having the #1 run game in the NFL and the best defense in the NFL. And I can say that with conviction now. The Jaguars no doubt have the best defense in the NFL. They lead all different statistical categories. They're #1 in everything. They have an excellent pass rush. Saxonville getting up in there. You have Calais Campbell with like 11 or 12 sacks on the year. Yannick Ngakoue has closed in on 9 sacks. And you also have speedy guys like Dante Fowler Jr. getting in the mix, really making himself be known. And then you also have tremendous cover cornerbacks. AJ Boye and Jalen Ramsey have to be the best tandem in the NFL. They are lockdown cornerbacks. They force turnovers. They force interception, all that kind of stuff. And just the way that the cornerbacks help the defense get, covered sacks and vice versa, you know what I mean? Like the cornerbacks help the D-line and the D-line helps the cornerbacks. And we have the speediest tandem of linebackers in the NFL with Telvin Smith and Miles Jack. They cover so much field, and they are both also great tacklers and really physical kind of players. You look at the interior of our D-line. We brought in Marcel Darius to the team about 3 weeks ago, and since then, he's greatly improved our run defense. We were like 31st in the NFL when we got him, and now we're sitting at like 15th or 16th in the NFL, and we are just stopping the run all of a sudden, and it's been great. And the addition of Marcel Darius has also made Malik Jackson and Avery Jones play a lot better. So, our defense is tremendous. Tashawn Gibson and Barry Church, our safeties, have both been playing really well. And this whole year, this whole defensive unit has been healthy. And this defensive unit, once we get up to a lead, this team will suffocate in offense. Once we're up and once we force the opponents to start passing the ball, that's when it gets dangerous, because we have guys that can get to the quarterback extremely quick, and we have elite coverage people that aren't allowing any completions to happen. And when you look at the offensive side of the ball, we are running the ball extremely well. As I said, we're the #1 rushing offense in the NFL, and Fournette has been every bit of the #4 overall pick that we wanted him to be. He really just carries our offense a lot of times. Like last Sunday against Cleveland, it would have been a totally different game when Fournette isn't in. When usual running backs, you only get like a 1-yard gain out of a play, he'll get in there and get you a 3, 4, 5-yard run gain. And he's a home run hitter too. I mean, he's got an elite combination of size, speed, and power, and he can just really take it to the next level. Now, I'll go ahead and address the monkey in the room, and that's the biggest thing that might prevent us from going to the Super Bowl, and that is our quarterback, Blake Bortles. As we all know, Bortles isn't the best quarterback. I mean, and every single one of my videos, I have people commenting about how bad Bortles is and stuff like that, and then I have a lot of people criticizing me that I'm not hard enough on Bortles. Now, one reason why I'm not all that hard on Bortles is we all know what Bortles is. We all know that he's not the greatest quarterback. He's not the best decision maker. He's not the most accurate guy in the NFL. He's doesn't have the best footwork, doesn't have the best accuracy with the ball. And, he's just not the best quarterback out there. But I have a lot of people commenting on my videos saying we can't win with Bortles. And that is completely false, because with Bortles we are currently 7-3. Now, you could change that and say that we will never win because of Bortles, and that's a little more accurate than saying that we can't win with Bortles. Now, Bortles, we are yet to really see him take the Jaguars on like a game-winning touchdown drive. We've never really been in a situation where we're down 4 points and we say, all right, Blake, put the team on your back and carry us down the field. Now, granted, Blake has had some good games this year. He had a great game against the Ravens. He played really well against the Colts and also the Bengals, especially on third down in that Bengals game. But a lot of the good gets outlooked after, we do a lot of really bad, after he does a lot of really bad things. Like, for example, that Chargers game. He played really well that first, 58 minutes of the game when we really weren't running the ball that well, and we had to open it up a little bit more with Blake Bortles. And, the first 58 minutes of the game, he played really well. But it got really overlooked because he made possibly three really bad decisions. He had 2 interceptions in the final 2 minutes. He had one throw that almost led into a pick 6, and it's just, it's tough because no matter how good you play, if you're going to make bad decisions and force really bad errors, that's always going to outweigh the good that you have. Now, one thing about Blake is he has kind of improved from last season. You know what I mean? He's not having as many interceptions. He doesn't have a pick 6 on the year, which is one big thing about him. And the Jaguars are just trying to get him to play in that game manager role so we can pretty much let our defense and our running game carry our team. Now, however, the passing game, it's not all on Blake Bortles. One thing that we are missing that a team like the Steelers have, a team like the Patriots have, a team like the Chiefs have, is we are lacking that #1 receiver. Allen Robinson is out, and that's really hurt our team this year. I think if we had Allen Robinson, we could have potentially won a game like the Jets. You know what I mean? If you look at the Patriots, they have Brandon Cooks. They have Danny Amendola. You look at the Steelers, they have guys like Antonio Brown, Martavis Bryant. They have Juju Smith-Schuster. You look at the Chiefs, and they have Tyreek Hill. They have Travis Kelce. And the Jaguars, right now, they do not have those elite of receivers. You know what I mean? We don't know what D.D. Westbrook's going to turn out to be. We hope that he can provide that spark that our passing game really needs. But, the passing game, it really isn't all on Blake because we don't have any really great players, I would say, to get the ball to. Marquise Lee isn't that guy that we thought was going to take the top off the defense. Allen Hurns has just turned into be like a possession receiver. Keelan Cole, he's been improving, but he's still an undrafted rookie. And going forward, we're going to have 2 rookies really help carry this receiving core, as we don't know when Allen Hurns is going to get back. And, we have guys like Aurelius Ben now on the IR. We also have Jaden Mickens. We just aren't very good. We don't have many very good options at the receiving position. However, when I look at this defense and just our team in general and whether we can make a Super Bowl run, I wasn't really around during the 2002 Ravens era, but this defense, this whole team really reminds me of the 2015 Broncos when they had Peyton Manning and Brock Osweiler back there. Now, a lot of people are going to be saying, hey, how can you really compare Blake Bortles to Peyton Manning? I'm not going to compare him to the Peyton Manning of his prime, but Peyton Manning in that Super Bowl run was not the same Peyton Manning that we've been seeing throughout his career. He probably got outplayed by Brock Osweiler that year, but Peyton Manning kept the starting position once he came back from injury just because he was Peyton Manning and they weren't about to send him in his final season in the NFL. Even Peyton Manning himself joked during the ESPYs talking about how the defense carried him to a Super Bowl. Now, for the Jaguars to go to the Super Bowl and potentially win the Super Bowl, they are going to have to make sure they do a lot of things. First of all, our running game has to be on point. If we have no running game, then it's really hard to be able to get anything going on offense. And even when during the Chargers game, for example, we didn't really have much of a run game, but Bortles did wind up going in there and he threw some good balls that game. He was actually hitting some deep balls, even though some of the receivers were dropping them. He was completing some passes. However, if you're going to give Bortles 51 attempts in a game, he's probably going to make at least 2 bad decisions, and that's what happened in that game. So, these catastrophic turnovers, it can't happen. You know what I mean? That's the second key, is just we can't be turning the ball over and giving the other team the ball in a position to score, because we aren't going to be playing teams like the Browns or teams like, I don't know, the Colts or the Texans anymore. We're going to actually be playing teams that may get in the playoffs, so they're going to be good teams. So we can't be turning the ball over. And, of course, our defense has to play great. Our defense is going to have to get some sacks, get some turnovers. Their defense, like they have this whole season, they're going to have to carry us through the playoffs. And I think that's something the defense is going to embrace. I mean, they're not dumb. They know that the offense isn't the greatest thing ever. But I think that makes them play with a real chip on their shoulder, saying, hey, we're going to have to win this, so, take some pressure off the offense. And, I really do think they take pride in that. You saw the game against the Cleveland Browns, they force, once the Browns are over there driving, they say, okay, they got one drive left, let's force a turnover, force, something like that. And what do? They get basically a touchdown, and probably 2 touchdowns. They took that one away from us, but that's a little besides the point. One thing that is good for the Jaguars as you go into the postseason is the fact that we're not in the NFC. The NFC is far superior to the AFC when it comes to the amount of good teams that are in there. And another good thing that I like is I think we match up extremely well against both the Patriots and the Steelers, which are looking like they might be the top 2 teams in the, they're going to have the top 2 seeds in the AFC unless the Jaguars can win out and, some things happen up there. So, I think we match up well against them just because with the Patriots, for example, if you can get some pressure on Tom Brady, that's how you beat Tom Brady. Get pressure on him. Hopefully Yannick Ngakoue gets some strip sacks, forces some turnovers. They're going to have to play lights out. And against the Steelers, I really don't even have to go into that because we already beat them 30-9 in their house, and we forced Big Ben to throw 5 interceptions. The defense was lights out that day, and I just really see that once we get into the playoffs, our defense is going to play with a lot of motivation. This defense is seriously so much fun to watch. Every time this defense takes the field, I get so excited because it just seems like we never know who's going to make the impact that game. One game you'll have Calais Campbell go out there and get a bunch of sacks. Next game you'll see Yannick Ngakoue and then Telvin Smith making a bunch of plays. You have Jalen Ramsey out there, AJ Boye. We have so many playmakers on this defense, and this defense really loves each other, man. I mean, this defense, we are full of a bunch of shit talkers. They are bullies of the NFL. Once they get up, they don't let down. The defense, it's so exciting to watch. So while it's weird to imagine the Jaguars in the Super Bowl, especially after what we've been through the last decade, I personally haven't seen the Jaguars in the playoffs since I was 12 years old, so I'm really excited that we are in a great position to potentially go to the playoffs. And, with this defense wins championships. We have the #1 run game in the NFL. It's just about the quarterback. Can we go in there with Blake Bortles and win? Blake Bortles, we never know. We all kind of know what Blake Bortles is. He's not the franchise quarterback, but he can play at a decent game manager level. He's been in there and he's helped. He's been the quarterback that hasn't necessarily led us to 7-3, but he's been the quarterback of a 7-3 team. So you got to kind of give him that. So with all that said, this is UC at Jaguar with GenJag.com, and I will see you guys in Minneapolis.
But we going to the Super Bowl. That's the plan.
Yeah, we going to the Super Bowl.